today we have Gerry Thornton and James Short here to discuss their health-related illness of hypertension and to kind of discuss their own personal aspects of what has happened in their life. All right, let me ask you guys a couple of questions about hypertension. The first question being, when did you first learn about hypertension? How old do you remember you were?
I would say over 10 years ago.
Okay.
Over 10 years ago.
Do you remember what you were doing, or how did you find out? Was it a self-diagnosis or from a family member?
I really didn't know when I was diagnosed. I really didn't know that I had high blood pressure. It was diagnosed through my doctor.
Okay. Got you.
Same case. I was diagnosed probably 10 years ago, but at the same time, I also knew I had a family history of diabetes and hypertension going back at least 3 generations.
So you remember that did both of your parents have high blood pressure?
Both parents, grandparents. I know both parents and grandparents.
How did you know your grandparents had high blood pressure?
My grandfather died from stroke,
Oh, okay.
and I know my grandmother was on medications, and later on I found out that my mother was diagnosed with diabetes and hypertension, and finally my father.
Okay, how about you, Miss Gerry?
And when I was a little girl, I remember my mother being sick all the time. And when I was 5 years old, my mother, she died of a heart attack, and that was due to her high blood pressure that she had. And I do remember agreeing with him that it was a history. It ran way back. My grandmother, she was sick all the time, and also my grandfather as well.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any siblings that have high blood pressure?
Yes. Yeah.
I ask that question because what typically happens in African American families is we don't talk about it.
No,
And so then basically what happens is you have the same thing happening over and over and over again, and nobody ever talks about the fact that they have an illness because hypertension is actually preventable. So do you know if you have siblings that have the same condition?
I do.
Okay.
I do too.
Okay. So that's good to know. How about your children?
No,
No, you don't know, or no, they don't have it?
no, they don't have it.
They don't have it. How about you?
I would say no, but I'm not positive to that fact. I'm not absolutely positive to that fact.
Okay.
Because probably of their ages and not really going to be diagnosed to see.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not sure.
Right. Okay, so
Hopefully-
you said, both of you said over 10 years ago, so
Yeah.
you were diagnosed when you were in your 40s, 50s, 50s.
50.
You were 50s. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
probably, I would say over 10, over 10 years. Right.
Yeah, a little
so
over 10
if
years.
you have any children that's 35, 40, they should be seeking treatment because that's
Right.
typically when it exhibits.
And I don't.
So, okay. So now tell me what you remember about growing up. I know we talked earlier off camera, and you guys were talking about the types of foods that you ate when you were a child. So what can you remember about the difference between the types of foods you ate then and the types of food that you eat now?
Well, actually, in my case, we wasn't exposed to the type of foods that I eat now. It wasn't even in the small town stores. I never seen turkey products in the Coleman, Mississippi store. It was basically, we slaughtered all of the meats we ate, and they were cured in salt because there wasn't refrigerators. You know, that was not one of those things that was common. It was more of an ice box with an ice man bringing ice in a small area to refrigerate. So most of the meat that we ate was pork, and it was salted to be cured. So it gave me a fixation, a desire, a taste to eat a lot of salt. Everything had to have salt.
Everything was greasy.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I mean, there was hardly any bacon. Baking in the oven.
No.
I mean, in Buena Vista, Georgia, you know, we killed 2 hogs every year.
Yeah.
And every piece of that hog, we made it work for us to eat, to use.
Yeah.
You know, from, like they say, from the head to the toe, from chitlins down to pig ears, down to the pig feet.
Yeah.
You know, the South meat.
Yeah.
You know, we ate it all.
What's South meat?
All of
the head
Yeah,
and
the
all the
ears,
leftovers.
the tail, everything, yeah, right.
Oh wow.
All the
Okay.
leftovers.
So
Loaf.
anything brain,
Yes.
tissue.
Everything.
Yes.
Everything.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Okay. So basically, that was just how you were brought up. Okay. So now I heard you mention refrigeration as an issue for why you had cured meats.
Yeah.
But now, when I know your parents moved and they had a refrigerator, they brought those same traditions
With them.
with them.
Because I think it was a lack of education based on the times in life, because in school I never had a class about diabetes, hypertension, the proper food, nutrition. None of that was in my lifetime, wasn't discussed, and I'm sure now that's just a common practice. I see it on TV. You know, I know that the information is out there to at least make you aware of the right things to do to prevent it. But in my time, and probably her time, that type of education wasn't out there.
And I can even go even further to say, you know, at the point that if it was out there, we ate what we could afford. You know, I was brought up on a farm,
So
and we ate all the vegetables out of the garden. We ate whatever. If it wasn't a hog, it was killing. Well, we hardly ever killed cows or anything like that. You know, down to making corn syrup. You know, which is, you know, you got sweets there. So pretty much everything was just unhealthy.
Yeah.
But that's what we had.
So now you said you had vegetables. When you say vegetables, what type of vegetables do you mean? What kind of vegetables do you
We
remember
had all
eating?
the
Oh,
green
okay.
vegetables, all of the vegetables.
You did broccoli,
Yeah.
you did spinach.
Well,
Not broccoli.
Not broccoli. Not broccoli.
Spinach.
No,
Not spinach.
not spinach.
So you did what? You did corn,
Yeah.
Collard greens,
Greens.
collard greens,
cabbage, turnips, right?
turnips,
Okra, butter
corn,
beans,
butter
lima
beans.
beans.
Yeah.
We call them butter
So
beans.
now when you cook those dishes, what you cook with them?
Pork,
Pork.
salted pork.
That's
Salted
exactly right.
Exactly.
Okay. Did you also include any type of oil? Did you use vegetable
Pork
oil?
oil, pork
A
grease.
pork.
I can
Pork
tell you
grease.
what we
Fat.
used. We used the fat that was
From-
cooked from the grease.
From the pork.
From the pork.
Yeah.
From the pork, yeah, not the grease, the
Okay.
pork.
From the
The
skin.
famous
with the
traditional
fat.
cup on the stove.
Absolutely.
But that originated from the fat content of the hogs that you killed.
That's
Pure
right.
fat.
That's right.
Pure fat from
Pure
the
fat.
hog.
Right.
Pure fat.
Wow.
Pour some of that.
Mhm.
Even the bacon. Down to the
Yeah.
bacon.
Oh my, I don't think I knew that. Okay, so now let me ask you this. Okay, so now, years have passed, you've had your diagnosis of hypertension. Did you notice that you changed what you did? as far as the diet and your physical activity, or did it just become you now on medication and you continued in the same pattern?
I had to change because I was literally just dying, really.
So,
Yeah. I mean, I didn't want to because I was so used to eating, the way I ate. But now, I try to use turkey products now more so than using pork.
Okay. What do you think, in let's say 5 years, do you think you had a educational shift? Do you think you got enough education when you were first diagnosed, or did you just kind of spend your time figuring it out as you go?
I think when I first got diagnosed, there was not enough information out there for me that's out there now. I feel that there's nutritionists. As a matter of fact, Kaiser is offering a class of weight management, health weight management. So, I'm taking that for I think it's 5 or 6 weeks. So, I think now it's more information out there than it was before.
So you participate. You're a patient with Kaiser.
Yes.
So you get the benefit of that whole package.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know they did that, so I have to make note for my other patients that I deal with. If you could change anything from prior to having being diagnosed with hypertension to now, do you think, what would you recommend as a change for a person that maybe had not been diagnosed with hypertension? What would be your top?
diet,
Eating healthy.
eating healthy.
Eating healthy. But how would you define that? Because that definitely, people define that differently. So how would you define eating healthy? What would you take out of your diet that African Americans have as a staple?
I would take out more meat,
Mm-hmm.
and I would add more vegetables and fruits.
And I would do some research now. If
Mhm.
I know the information is out there now, so I would go and get the information that I need to sort of guide me in the right direction of things to eat. Because
True.
if you don't know,
True.
if you don't know what to eat, you tend to just stick with tradition. But thankfully, I'm learning as time go on now what I should and shouldn't be eating, and I see the results from my numbers.
Right.
I'm going to leave you with this thought. I was sitting in class and we had this discussion about how minority or ethnic groups come to this country healthy, and within one generation, maybe 2 generations, the health status of those same people has changed. So let's say we say Hispanic Americans or Hispanics that come to this country, they come to this country, they don't have high blood pressure, they don't have
That's true.
diabetes, they don't have they don't have issues with obesity. They come to the United States and all of a sudden they're sick. Africans come to this country, can go 1-2 generations, they're still eating all of their cultural foods, they're doing all of those other things that we don't do in this country. So do you think that has an impact?
Yeah, and from my experiences, talking with a lot of Hispanics and Africans and Haitians, people that in their traditional land, they worked extremely hard and ate very little. And when they come to America, they're coming for the American dream. The French fries, the McDonald's, the Burger
Very
King.
true.
They coming to be able to eat the steak and not eat their traditional food because it's embedded in their head that we are the #1 place in the world and we got the best life and the
That's
best
right.
food.
That's
So
true.
they tend to adapt or go out and seek our foods with a passion. And that's what I think happens to them.
Absolutely. I agree.
Okay, so let me ask you this final question. Do you exercise?
Not enough.
I try my best to,
Not enough. Not enough.
but not enough. I
Not
agree
enough.
with him. Not enough. As a matter of fact, Stephanie, I let it be known that I got on the treadmill this morning for 15 minutes.
15
I
minutes.
only could do 15 minutes.
But that's a start.
But that's a start. That's exactly a start.
And lately, due to other health reasons, I can't work as much for other pains in backs and knees and arthritis and a lot of other things. But I do know there were a period of time where working constantly allowed me to lose weight, and it brought down my diabetes numbers. So I got to be really cautious of inactivity, you know, because my numbers are rising slightly. I don't burn off enough right now.
All right, well, thank you.
You're
You're
welcome.
Thank you.